Hi, welcome to this lesson on cloud storage. I'm Nigel Poulton and I'll be your trainer for this lesson. Alright, let's start out by defining and explaining the cloud and cloud storage. First up, the cloud or cloud computing is a computing model where compute resources are accessed remotely via the internet. So, instead of sitting at your desk and accessing a server remotely over the corporate network into your corporate data center, with cloud computing, that server resides in somebody else's data center and is accessible over the internet. And instead of that server being managed and maintained by you or your IT department, it's owned and managed by a third party that we usually call a cloud provider or a service provider. And all of this brings several important benefits. So let's list some of them and talk about them. First up, simplicity. The cloud is all about making the consumption of IT simple, really simple. A bit like using and consuming electricity or water in your home. You plug something in and the power is just there, or you turn on the tap and water just comes out. Cloud is about making IT as simple as that. You need a virtual machine? Hit a button and you've got one, right there, right now. Next up, the cloud is elastic. Right, bit of a buzzword, okay, but it's real. The cloud lets you use as much or as little IT as you want, and it lets you change that as and when you want. So keeping its storage, if you want to consume 500 gigabytes today, and then change that to only 100 gigabytes tomorrow, but then ramp it up to a terabyte the day after that, you can do that. You get a bill at the end of the month for what you've used. And the cloud is self-service, meaning that you, as an end user, can directly configure it yourself, usually through a simple web portal. So if you want to ramp your storage up by another 200 gigabytes, you do it yourself through the web portal. And when you click Done, Proceed, Continue, whatever it is you click, the new capacity is there, ready, waiting for you, instantly available. Maybe you need a new virtual machine. Go to the portal, select a configuration, CPU, RAM, networking, storage, stick it in your order cart, click Proceed, and it's there waiting for you. Kinda like ordering a Kindle book online. You choose your book, add it to your shopping cart, click Proceed, and it's pretty much instantly delivered to your Kindle device. The cloud is also massively scalable. On the storage front, it's almost limitless in size. You really can consume as little or as much as you want, so long as you can afford to pay for it, right? Several of the public cloud services, such as Amazon Web Services and Microsoft Windows Azure, have trillions of objects in their cloud storage services. These cloud service providers have mega data centers hosting their mega equipment for their mega cloud services, and all of these services are literally on tap for you to use if you need them and can afford them. As we hinted earlier, cloud is based on consumption-based billing, where you pay according to what you use. Use 5 gigabytes of data this month? Pay for 5 gigabytes. Use 500 gigabytes? Pay for 500 gigabytes. And it's flexible, meaning if you use less one month, you pay less that month. And this can help organizations in several ways. First up, there aren't any large upfront capex costs that are often prohibitors for businesses getting up and started. You no longer have to stump up a load of cash on day one just to get your operation or project started. This model also allows you to cope with spikes in demand. Let's say that for 10 months of the year you only need 50 virtual machines to handle your workload, but then for 2 months of the year you need 250. Well, cloud is ideal for this. You simply use 50 and pay for 50 for 10 months of the year, and then you use 250 and pay for 250 the other 2 months of the year. When those 2 months are done, you turn off the extra virtual machines and you stop paying for them. A lot simpler than if there was no cloud. Like without the cloud, you'd probably have to buy and own the equipment to be able to deal with the peak demand of 250 virtual machines, but then have them sit around idle and unused for 10 months of the year. That's far from ideal. Finally, the cloud is opaque. Okay, so what do we mean by opaque? Well, we mean that you don't get to see the detail of what's behind the service that you're getting. You don't get to see, or even need to know for that matter, what brand of servers are in use, which vendor's storage kit is being used, what version of firmware they're running, what service contracts they're on. You literally don't need to care. All you care about is that the service works. Again, a lot like your electricity and water supply at home, you just care that it works as expected. And this again takes a lot of burden off corporations and businesses. In the cloud model, all of the challenges associated with ownership of IT equipment are moved onto the cloud service provider. They're the ones that deal with all of the hardware and software maintenance and upkeep. You no longer need to care about things like upgrade cycles, security patching, monitoring, staffing, nothing like that. You just get on with doing your business. And that's the cloud computing model. Make no mistake, it's changed the world and is continuing to change it. So what about cloud storage? Well, at a high level, cloud storage is storage that's accessed over the internet and paid for as a monthly consumption-based bill. You pay for what you use. Whereas cloud computing can take your entire IT service and host it in the cloud, servers, network and storage, cloud storage is all about hosting just the storage elements in the cloud. Now, a point or two specific to storage in the cloud. First of all, cloud storage is storage accessed over the internet. So as cool as it might be, it's gonna be slower than local storage. There's just no way that the internet can compete with a high-speed LAN or SAN when it comes to latency. So latency-sensitive workloads are not good use cases for cloud storage. But it's not just latency. Most cloud storage solutions are based on object storage technologies, meaning that they're not good choices for highly transactional data or any data set that has frequent updates. So generally speaking, cloud storage is lower performance than traditional storage that you have in your own data center. What cloud storage is good at though is streaming read workloads. So for data sets that are frequently read but not frequently updated. Things like viewing images, watching videos, listening to audio files, or other files that are read, usually sequentially read. And let's not forget, cloud storage is simple, elastic, massively scalable, and you only pay for what you use. So there's lots of good stuff in there. Now, what kind of things might be a good idea to put in the cloud and what might not?